Okay, so we want to be able to do something by deleting something from our parts. Okay, so for us to be able to implement that, we need to add a delete button here. So you can simply use a delete button here and to do that. Okay, so we can go to React icons and get a delete button or simply type in a delete text, but having a delete option, a delete button makes it to look slick. So I'm going to go for delete. So I'm going to find a cat that resembles to the item item. So I love this one here. So let's just get this cat. So I can just copy this and back to my cards. So I look at my cards. Remember our cards, we created a table for the cards. So everything in our cards looks like a table. So I'm going to import it here. Okay, so let's import it here. And so within the body, we can, okay, so after this, we can have a TD and can now bring in, what is the name of my cat again? RI delete, so can be RI delete, so let's just bring it in there. So save, and with that now, I should be able to have a delete option on my cards. So my card should be able to have the delete option there. Okay. So can give it a class. A class name of cursor pointer. So these are CSS classes, so that when the card is hovered on, we will have cursor pointer. Okay, so you can see it is there. So I don't know where this arrow is coming from. I think I need to remove that. Oh, I type a text RI here. So to delete that is an error. So that cell has a TD of cursor pointer. So whenever I go to it now, you can see it is cursor, but it's not doing anything for us now. So we need to, whenever we click on it, we should be able to delete these cards. So we are going to navigate back to our cards, and inside our cards, we are going to create a function that this guy will listen to. So you can drop the function here. Can drop the function here. So I can just use an arrow function. I can easily call it handle delete. Handle delete. So it's going to handle delete for me. So remember, our function goes this way. Okay, so this my handle delete is going to take index here. Remember, I didn't give it any ID, so I've been using index. So I'm going to continue using that index there. So what exactly do I want to do? So I can create a new variable for my new carts items. Can call it new cards items. Always try to make your naming to be mnemonic, kind of. So I'm going to destructure everything in my cart items, like let's say ... cart items. Now, the idea of the structuring to create a new variable, that is sense. Okay. So if I have an array called y, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and stuff. So, and I have x, and I want x to be all members of y. So I can actually say ... y. Okay. So I brought out everything in x and make it to be everything in y. And yet they're not the same. So if I try to look at x being equal to y, it is false. There are two independent things. This is also equivalent of me saying x, or maybe another variable z is equal to x dot slice. This creates an array copy. Okay, so is xz the same thing as x, which is false. Okay, but if I go and say z is equal to a, in this case, I can say a to be equal to z. In this case, is a the same thing as z. This is true. Always know that. So if I change anything in z, it's going to change something that is in a. But I want that to be, remember, arrays and immutability of arrays. You have to always bear that in mind whenever you're equating. So you need to destructure so as to make the arrays to be immutable. Otherwise, if I just use a equal sign, they're not strings, so they're mutable. Highly mutable. Okay, so we have that. So that is the idea behind doing these ... items here. So I'm going to look at const delete item. So whenever I delete an item, delete item, delete item. So an item that is deleted, how do I actually track it? In this case, I will actually look at new cart item dot splice. Okay, so whenever I'm splicing at index, that is index, and I'm deleting one item, that is what it means. And because it's also going to return an array after splicing. So if I'm looking at what I deleted, that is at index 0. Again, we can also illustrate this. We can also illustrate this. I've just been showing lots of illustrations on this. Okay. So if I have z equal to z, so let's say I want to delete 3 from here. I can actually say z dot splice. Okay, z dot splice. So I'm starting at index 2012. Okay, so I'm starting at index 2. So that's what I replace with index in that equation, and the number of things I'm deleting is 1. Okay, so because I want to just delete one thing from that array, so this is going to delete 3 from me. Let's see. So once it deletes it, it returns what it has been deleted as. It returns it as an array. Okay, so when I look at z, I can actually see what z is now. Okay, it returns an array. So if I have said this and I put 2, it will delete 2 things. Now, in this case, what it will delete now, 0, 1, 2, going to delete 4 and 5. Okay, so if that is what it deletes, and if I put index 0 here, it's going to return the first one just because it's an array. It won't return that. So it's good you understand the mechanisms behind some of these things. So you understand why do I have to put 0 here? Because we want to. So my set cat items, okay, which we are using to modify the original item. So the set cat items will now be the new item. New cat items. Okay. So for the value, so the new cat item, yeah, we're coming for that now. Okay, fine. So I'm going to allow this. This will not work totally well, but we'll look at it and see what is not working well so we know what's up this. Okay, so whenever this button is clicked, so I can give it an click here. So we want to call in, because this takes a parameter, so we are going to handle delete this way. Handle delete, and we are going to pass it index. Okay, so we're handling delete by passing it index into it. So let's look at that. Let's see how work. Let's refresh our page again to be sure that we are on the same page, that everything we are doing here is working pretty much well. So it's going to do that and delete item. I'm not using this delete item now, but I would rather use it to update whatever that I have deleted. So I come here, and when I delete, you can see it has deleted this and return the total here. And if I delete, everything is 0. But again, my cat item is not deleting. Cat item is not deleting. So the numbers here are still not being updated. So I need to update my count. Remember, that one is the different thing we stored in the variable. So let's look at the providers and see how we stored those variables. Okay, so those variables are the val and the set val. So I'm going to bring in the set val there. So I'm going back to the card and bringing the set var. Okay, for my providers, I'm going to bring in the set var for my providers. So I'm bringing set var here. So now on the delete, what will the set var do? So set var, we look at the previous var, the previous value, whatever is the previous value there, and then the previous value minus delete items dot what? So how did I even store it? Dot count. So previous val delete item dot count. So whatever that this thing has counted is going to remove it from the previous value. Delete item dot count. So delete item dot count. So this will actually help me to update the current value of my. Okay, we use the set val, look at the previous value of my val, and delete item dot count. I will use it to delete that previous value. So let's add something again and try to delete. You can see it has deleted that 3 here, but this 10 is still here because it's still reflecting on the local storage. So I can just go to the local storage and delete it. And just go back to the local storage and delete that item there. So okay. Okay, this thing is still here. I have to really delete it. And I've not erased that from, okay, so I wasn't tracking it right. So to come here, make it 0. So everything can return back to 0. Okay, so if I refresh now, it should actually be 0. So it's 0 now. So if I add more things, add everything that the number adds, can get up to 30. Refresh, from local storage, it will still show us 30 there. Come here, you can see style number 12 plus 8 is 20, 5, 5, 30. So if I click delete, this returns 25. What I have here is 25. If I remove 12, it's now 13. I have 13 here. Delete this, delete this. Okay. So one more thing we can actually do is if this cart item, I don't want you to show this table at all. If this cart item does not contain anything at all, so should it supposed to tell us that our cart is empty, right? So let's go and modify that table. Modify that table. So for this table, okay, so I only want this table to show. So I'm going to wrap this inside a curly brace actually. So this table is not good. So I have this table here. Okay, so I'll look at cart item dot length, cart item dot length being equal to 0. So if it is 0, I want it to run the JS file. You can see H3. Oh, come on, H3. Okay. You can say cart is empty. Cart is empty. Cart is empty. Okay. Otherwise, which is colon. Otherwise, do this, right? So if I go back there, I should actually see cart is empty now. That is what should display there. Okay, you can see cart is empty. But the moment you add something, something shows. If I delete, it returns cart is empty. So we can try to make that to look much good. Okay, so class name. Okay, so text can be in the center, text center. So you can put the text on the center. You can put padding at the top and the bottom, maybe 10. Then capitalize, and then text to Excel, just to add but a few things there. Yeah, so you go there, you can see that our cart is empty. This is what is showing us here, carts being empty. So when we add something, carts, whatever we add to carts, will be showing to us there. When we delete, when I delete the last one, cart becomes empty and we can close. So that's it, learning how to work with Context API. With Context API, you can kind of do a whole lot managing data on your front end. Fun. Okay, so all right, so take care and see you in the next work.